How's it going, guys? Cracked Rack here, and today we're going to be doing something that's been requested of me for quite a long time. We are going to be ranking Lolcows on a tier list. At least 30 of them. Well, actually more like 27, but around 30. Now here is something important to remember about this tier list that may be a little bit confusing. Unlike 90% of tier lists, the S tier on this list will represent the worst Lolcows, who are the most disgusting and awful and vile people overall. While the F tier will essentially represent the best people out of this bunch of Lolcows, who are actually just regular people who are so normal they shouldn't even be seen as Lolcows, but they are for whatever reason. Without further ado, let's rank these Lolcows. Oh, and lastly, before we get into this, don't feel bad if a Lolcow that you really like isn't on this list. If a Lolcow isn't on this list, I don't know that they even exist. And if I even knew that they existed, I wouldn't know much about them. So yeah, not on the list, I don't even know they exist. Alright, so as you can see, I have this gigantic, list thing full of all these Lolcows, these beautiful, glorious, sexy Lolcows, and we're gonna be putting them on this list. So, first off, we have Randy Stair. So you probably don't know this guy. He committed a shooting a couple of years ago where he essentially believed that when he died, he'd go into the afterlife and meet this Danny Phantom character who's a girl, and they'd have sex eternally forever. That's pretty much the gist of it. This guy was absolutely crazy. I have followed his rabbit hole pretty deeply. He was super obsessed with Columbine and school shootings and stuff. So yeah, he's a pretty big Lolcow. In fact, you know what? He killed 3 people, and he's really hurt a lot of other people, and he's just done so many crazy, stupid things that I am going to put him on S tier. He is genuinely awful. Now, obviously, on this S tier, there's going to be other Lolcows like Chris Chan on it, so just keep that in mind. So, yep, that is where Randy Stair belongs. Now, next we have Anita Sarkeesian. So, Anita Sarkeesian has been a Lolcow for as long as I can even remember. I'm in my 20s now, and Anita Sarkeesian was a popular thing to make fun of when I was 11 years old, 10 years old. So, she's been around for a very long time. I'm not exactly sure where I'd put her. She is very annoying and very stupid and just generally uneducated in everything she talks about, and she's also sexist and just awful, and I've never agreed with anything she's ever said, and no one likes her, so I'm tempted to put her in B tier. However, she hasn't really done anything that bad. She's not disgusting or vile or a criminal. She's just really not that bad. So you know what? We're going to put her in C tier. Yeah, I think that's where Anita Sarkeesian belongs. She's just not that awful. She's pretty bad, and she's a joke to feminism. I mean, if you're a feminist, you should hate this lady because she is stupid and she makes you guys look like a freaking joke. But she's not like Hitler. She's not so bad she needs to be shamed on the same level as Randy Stair. So that is where Anita Sarkeesian belongs. Alright, so next up is Lindsay Ellis, who is if you don't know, she made videos with Nostalgia Critic for many years. She's been doing this stuff on the internet since 2008. Her reason for being a Lolcow is that she's a hardcore social justice warrior, which I know is kind of a cringe word in 2022, but she really is. I mean, she tries to cancel other people all the time and harass them for not believing in her exact views. She cries all the time about how people are harassing her, and she just responds to the trolls constantly, and she's got a really bad attitude. I don't really like her. Like I said, hardcore feminist. However, not the worst person ever. I mean, yes, she is literally that cringe, meme feminist with the red hair. That, you know, that one that everyone uses as a meme? That's her. She literally had red hair at one point even, and she's made pro-abortion documentaries about how this is my body and all this stuff, which is pretty cringe. I'm not saying that I'm, pro-life or whatever, not at all. But, it's just the way she goes about her political leanings is just very cringe. And I think anyone could agree with that, even people on her side. So, she is a Lolcow. However, she's not Satan. She hasn't done anything that bad. And she's good looking, and she has connections in the industry, and people respect her. So, you know what? I'm going to put her at E. She is an E tier Lolcow. Next up is Russell Greer. So, if you don't know who this guy is, This is essentially a man who goes out of his way to find things to sue people about. I mean, he's sued, or at least attempted to sue, so many people. I mean, he attempted to sue Ariana Grande for, I think, not wanting to go out on a date with him or something. Very cringe, very weird. He's a weird dude. He has a physical deformity, which is perfectly fine. If you have a physical deformity, there's nothing wrong with that. However, it just doesn't help him, all right? He's already stupid. He tries to sue everybody, and he looks like a goofy goober. I was going to make a Lolcow watch on him. However, I decided not to because he might actually sue me, and I'm just not in the mood for any type of litigation whatsoever, so I didn't make the video. Anyway, I would put Russell... probably in B tier. I mean, he's everything from ugly to just disgusting to creepy to misogynistic to just a bumbling idiot who tries to sue everybody. So I think B tier is where he belongs. So that's where he's going. All right, next up is Bob Chipman, also known as the Movie Bob. Now, I don't know very much about Movie Bob. All these other Lolcows on the list, save for like one or two, I know a ton about. But this guy, I really don't know anything about. I know that people are mad at him, and he's really fat, and he's kind of creepy. That's all I know about him. So I can't really judge him too hard. He doesn't seem like that bad of a Lolcow, and I don't even think he's that funny or unique in any way, shape, or form. He's a Lolcow, honestly, in the same way that, like, Review Tech USA is a Lolcow. He's hardly a Lolcow. He's just kind of goofy and fat, and he says and does stupid shit, which isn't like that big of a deal. So you know what? I'm going to put him, and I know this is going to be controversial, but keep in mind this is all my opinion. I'm going to put him in E tier. I don't think he's that bad. Next up is going to be DSP. This is a guy who will masturbate on stream in front of thousands of children. He will beg for money and do it shamelessly while also spending thousands of dollars on The Simpsons Tapped Out. I mean, he does not give a shit about anything. He's an idiot, and he begs for money constantly. He pretty much makes like a doctor's living off of begging for money, which is ridiculous. He's bad at video games. He's horrible at taking criticism. He's a pretty big Lolcow, and I mean, he literally makes a living off of being a Lolcow. This guy makes a complete living off of how stupid he is, so I'm going to put him in A tier. I don't think he's horrible or anything. I don't think he's committed any crimes or anything like that. He's just not a good person, and yeah. All right, next up we have Nikocado Avocado. Now, I don't know how to feel about Nikocado. I think that he's actually kind of funny. I mean, I use that in the loosest way possible, but he is kind of funny. I mean, he's this big, fat, jello-y guy. He jiggles around all the time. It's funny. He's clearly found an audience. He's very successful, and I don't think he's that bad. I mean, he's making a huge name for himself, no pun intended, and I just don't think he's that awful. He's stupid. He's gross. He farts while crying. But he's famous for it, and he makes a great living for it, and he's never really offended me or anything, so I'm going to put him in D tier. He's not even close to the same level as, say, DSP or Randy Stair. Alright, next up is Shadman. I think Shadman is a piece of fucking shit. This guy is disgusting. If you don't know who he is, he draws animated child porn, pretty much. That's his entire shtick. And he's drawn porn of, like, people's daughters on YouTube and just really disgusting shit. Like, 11-year-old daughter, like an actual child. It's just really despicable. He draws porn of children. He's a creep in every single way, shape, and form. He also is addicted to heroin, apparently. So, and he's just a really, really bad person. I don't really like judging people for being bad people. Usually I just make fun of them. But this guy fucking sucks. And I would like to see him get humiliated and made fun of more often because he's just the worst. I'm going to put him next to DSP. Alright, next up is Amberlynn Reed. If you don't know who Amberlynn Reed is, she's essentially a lady who's like really, really fat, who refuses to lose weight and instead eats like thousands of pounds worth of egg rolls every day instead. I mean, her doctor will literally be like, Amber, unless you diet, you have 2 weeks to live. And she'll be like, well, time to eat a piece of pizza. She doesn't care about her health at all, which is fine, but she vlogs it and, like, cries about how, like, sad her life is and how you should feel bad for her, and then she begs for money, and then right after that she'll go shove a goddamn pizza down her throat. So I think she's a pretty bad lolcow, but she hasn't done anything that bad, like anything super criminal. She does abuse her girlfriends, which is bad, but she isn't, like, hitting them or anything. She's just emotionally abusive, so honestly, I'm going to put her in B tier. Yeah, she's a B tier lolcow. Alright, next up is Onision. I don't think I need to describe Onision to you. You're probably pretty familiar with Onision. Onision is a disgusting person and a very stupid person and kind of a child abuser and also really creepy, but he isn't, like, the worst person ever. I've never hated Onision. I've always just been annoyed with him mildly. I've never outright just been like, man, I hate this guy. So I don't know where to put him, but he is a pretty abusive bad guy. So I'm gonna say B tier. Yeah, he's with Amberlynn Reed and Russell Greer. That's about as bad as I think he is. DSP and Shadman and Randy Stair are definitely worse than Onision, so. Alright, next up, we have, I think his name's Jack Chipman, Cooking with Jack. This is a guy who makes really bad recipes, and he's had, like, stroke after stroke after stroke, but he continues to make these awful recipes full of, like, mayonnaise and icing and all this awful shit. I mean, yeah, he's pretty gross, and he doesn't take care of his health, and he has stroke after stroke after stroke because of his horrible cooking, and he's a goof, but he's not a bad person. I never, ever really see anyone say he's a bad person. I hardly ever hear anyone say that, unless they're like some neurotic freak on Kiwi Farms. So you know what? I'm going to put him in C tier. He's not... Actually, you know what? D tier. He's about the same level as Nika Kato. Not that bad of a guy, just generally kind of gross and doesn't take care of himself. Alright, next up we have Anita Sarkeesian. I think that's how you pronounce her name. She is iDubbbz's girlfriend. She's known for doing really gross things and just, like, being really trashy and gross and awful. And she's really condescending, and she's just kind of the worst. I don't want to say that about iDubbbz, though, because iDubbbz is, like, one of my favorite content creators of all time. It's kind of unfortunate that he is dating this person, because, well, this person kind of sucks. Sorry, iDubbbz, it's true. I'm going to put her... she's not that bad. I mean, she's definitely a lolcow, and she definitely looks like gender-bent Tobuscus, but I'm not going to put her high because she hasn't done anything wrong. So we'll put her in E tier. She's about the same as Movie Bob and Lindsay Ellis in terms of, you know, cringiness. Next up, we have Pastel Belle. You guys definitely don't know who this is. This is someone I beefed with for a long time on YouTube. Most people on YouTube hate her because she's just the worst. She's like a hypocrite and a liar, and she's involved in, like, conspiracy theories, and she has crazy, like, radical feminist behavior. She's the worst. No one likes her. She literally lost her entire channel viewership-wise. She gets literally $0, 0 views, 0 subscribers. She gets negative subscribers every single month. She's a lolcow for sure. But she's kind of fizzled out. She doesn't really make videos anymore. I'm going to put her in the same tier as Anita Sarkeesian, who is probably Pastel Belle's role model. So, good for her. Alright, next up is Trisha Paytas. Trisha Paytas, I don't think I need to describe her. She's trashy, she's disgusting, she smokes crack, like, literally. She looks like shit. She has a botched boob job. She does disgusting shit constantly, like rub 100 layers of fake cum on her face. Just really despicable stuff. And she's bringing a child into the world, so she's pretty awful. I'm going to say she's B tier. She's about as bad as Onision, honest. She's like female Onision, except less creepy. Just gross. Alright, next up is Spoonie. I don't know anything about Spoonie. Like, I really don't know a thing about him. I know that he makes, like, I think he makes game reviews, and he's made, like, really offensive jokes towards women. That's really all I know about him. I don't think he's that bad, honestly. I don't think he's great or anything. I'm not defending him. I just don't think from what I've seen that he's that bad. So I'm going to put him in E tier. Actually, no, I'll put him in D tier. He can be with Nika Kato and Cooking with Jack. Alright, next up is the Nostalgia Critic. Now, the Nostalgia Critic is a lolcow for sure. He's very silly. He thinks he's being admired for what he's doing, when in reality, most people just come to his reviews to laugh at how bad they are. He is a lolcow for sure. However, he hasn't done anything bad. Like, nothing criminal, nothing really that illegal, nothing that disgusting. Any one of those things that have happened in the Nostalgia Critic crew happened with other people. So Doug is not that bad. I'm gonna give him an E tier. Actually, you know what? No, you know what? I'm gonna put him in the F tier. I'm going to put Nostalgia Critic in the F tier. He is hardly a lolcow, in my opinion. He's only a lolcow because he's a goofy goober who doesn't understand how much his shit sucks. So that's it. He hasn't done anything else. His content's bad. That's really it. That's all I can say about him. I still enjoy his content, though. I watch it ironically. It's actually a blast to watch, ironically. Next up, we have Jessica Yaniv. Now, okay, every lolcow from this point above is like an extreme lolcow, I would say. Except for a few of them, but you'll see. Jessica Yaniv is a pretty bad person. She's creepy. She's gross. She stalks little girls on the internet. And she wants to give them tampons and shit. She's a very creepy, weird lady or man. I don't even know what this person is. I'm not even trying to be rude. I have no clue what this person identifies as or what they're trying to do, and I just don't like them. I think they're gross. So you know what? I'm going to put them in B tier. All the creeps, like genuine creeps, go B tier and above. All right, next up, we have Lucas Werner. Now, Lucas Werner, I don't know a ton about, but I know that he is a very creepy guy who leaves, like, creepy foods and notes for, like, 20-year-old girls, like, hoping to fuck them, even though he's, like, 45 years old. I mean, he's very old at this point. He's a creep, for sure, and his parents even hate him, I think. They, like, make blog posts about how awful he is. I recommend you just go research him more. I don't really have a lot to say about him. He's a creepy bad guy, but like he's not the worst guy ever. I wouldn't say that this guy is even really a top tier lolcow. He's honestly just really mentally ill and really sexually creepy. So you know what? I'm gonna put him in B tier. Seems like B tier is the most populated, and that's kind of the tier where it's like, these people are really bad, but they're not like the worst of all time. All right, next up is Cyrax. Go watch my lolcow watch on him if you want. Cyrax is pretty bad. Cyrax is not a good character. Everything from the fact that he sends nudes to like 13-year-old girls, to the fact that he looks like a goblin, to the fact that he is just a gross, awful person. I mean, he has scabs all over his head, and his penis is, like, inflated with how goddamn infected it is. He is a gross, gross individual. And you know what? I'm going to put him in S tier. I genuinely think that within the next, like, 5 or so years, maybe even 10 years, Cyrax is going to become a massive name in the lolcow sphere, because he is just the worst in every way. Next up is Timbox. Now, Timbox isn't the worst guy ever. I don't think. I kind of hyped him up by calling him the new Chris Chan, and I wish I wouldn't have done that, because he's not that bad. He's really cringy, really stupid, really weird, and just kind of awful. It gets worse when you realize he's in his 30s. However, he does have a mental disability. That doesn't excuse the fact that he posts all this stuff online by himself, and he is an adult. But he does have a mental disability, so I'm going to put him, you know what, I'm going to put him in E tier. He's really not the worst, unless he's like an actual pedophile, like going after children. Next up, we have Isabella Janki. Don't think I need to say much about her. I'm sure you know everything about her at this point. She kills animals, boils hamsters, tries to fuck women when they don't want her to. All sorts of awful stuff. She's very gross, very creepy. She's really just the worst. And you know what? I'm going to put her in S tier. So far in S tier, we have Randy Stair, Cyrax Wilkins, and Isabella Janki. We only have a few more lolcows left, so we'll see who makes the top cut here. Okay, so next up we have Sammy Classic Sonic Fan. I can't actually find his goddamn layer in Photoshop, so I can't put him on the tier list, or else I'll have to turn the recording off. But I would put Sammy Classic Sonic Fan in F tier. I don't think he's a Lolcow at all. I think he was playing a character. If you don't remember Sammy Classic Sonic Fan, he was essentially this kid who like screamed really loud all the time about Sonic this and Sonic that, and he was really angry. However, all of those videos he recorded of himself were recorded when he was like 14 years old, and I don't think it's fair to call someone a lolcow for embarrassing things they did when they were 14. And besides, these days, Sammy's completely kept to himself, and if you've seen a picture of him, he's a good-looking guy. I mean, he's like 22 now, and he looks really good, so I'm not going to even put him on the list, but he would be F tier if I could find his goddamn layer on Photoshop. Anyway, next up is Ethan Ralph. Ethan Ralph is a seriously damaged, awful, awful human being. I don't even know where to start with him. He is an actual white supremacist, like an actual white supremacist. He hangs out with Nick Fuentes even. He's hung a dog to death before. I mean, he's done some pretty awful things. I'm going to put him in S tier. I think he's genuinely that bad. Yeah, there's nothing else to even really say. Alright, next up we have Justin RPG. This is a guy who just makes really embarrassing songs. He's like a rapper type dude, and he makes some pretty cringy fan art and cringy songs, and he genuinely believes that he's in love with a Pokemon and he wants to fuck a Pokemon. It's all very cringe, but honestly it just seems like typical very mentally ill behavior, and I can't fault him too much for that, so you know what, I'm going to put him in D tier. I don't think Justin RPG is that bad. He may look like Chris Chan, but I doubt this guy would dip his dick in his mother, so not going to put him that high. Next up is Low Tier God. Ugh, I hate this guy. This guy's a dick. He's a dickhole and a half. He's just an abusive douchebag who screams and wants to hurt people over video games. He is a loser in every single way, shape, and form, but he hasn't done anything that bad. It's not like he's a criminal or anything. He's just an asshole. So, you know what? I'm going to put him in A tier. Next up, we have Wings of Redemption. Now, Wings of Redemption is, yes, a cringy loser, but he isn't like the worst guy ever, and he's not even that entertaining. I mean, yeah, he's had some disgusting episodes and done some disgusting things, and he's pretty abusive to his wife, but he's not the worst ever. I wouldn't even say he comes close to being like these guys' level of bad, so I'm going to put him in C tier. Yeah, that makes about sense. Alright, we're getting to the last two. Terry Davis. This is a guy who is extremely mentally ill, who was a programmer who actually made an operating system by himself. The only real reason he's even a lolcow is because of his crazy erratic behavior and the fact that he screams the N-word like every 5 seconds. I mean, he's obsessed with N-words. I mean, he talks about them constantly. Well, he's dead now. He died, actually, of suicide a couple years ago. But, yeah, he's really not that bad other than the fact that he just says racist things and is very mentally ill. He's actually extremely talented. His operating system is regarded as one of the greatest achievements of a lone programmer ever. Like, he is a very talented guy, so I'll put him in E. I'll put him in E tier. I don't think he's that bad. Last but not least, Chris Chan, S tier, obviously. What else did you expect? He raped his mother. He's the guy who walked so that all of these other lolcows could run, okay? This is the original. This is the OG. This is the guy. Okay, so that is the tier list. I think we did pretty good. I'm pretty satisfied with the results. From C and above is where the true lolcows really start. I mean, this is what separates the boys from the men, all right? This is from where things get ugly to absolutely revolting and disgusting. So that's C tier and above. Pastel Belle is like the least severe of the severe lolcows. I definitely do think she is less good than Wings of Redemption. I think Wings of Redemption is a better person than her. Just saying. And then D tier and below is where things start to get really normal. So like Nikocado Avocado, physically not normal. Everywhere else, pretty normal. Cooking with Jack, totally normal, besides his health. Spoonie, really not that bad. Justin RPG, not that terrible. And then we go all the way down to the Nostalgia Critic, who I think is genuinely not bad at all other than his crappy content. So that's all for today. That's it. See ya.